Welcome back everyone to Crypto and More. So today we're going to talk about Shiba Inu and Dogecoin. And I'm going to talk about these coins because I know a few people that have these coins and they always message me on where the prices of these coins might go. Just a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I don't hold either of these coins, but I do want to go over what the most probabilistic scenario is because I have seen a lot of people get very optimistic on Shiba Inu and Dogecoin. And I do think Shiba Inu and Dogecoin are going to do extremely well in the few weeks and months to come. There's a lot of hype behind these coins. There's a lot of people that really do love these coins. And despite of what anyone might think about these coins, what matters most is how many people are into the coins, how many people are buying, and if Elon Musk is going to tweet about them. But with that being said, right now we're going to look at Shiba Inu. We are following the symmetrical triangle, and we've been following the symmetrical triangle for a good amount of time actually, since the 28th of October of last year. So we've been following this trend line for quite a bit amount of time. We actually broke down the first support level, and we came back down to the second support level at the point 0.0000253. And right now we're range bound between this support level here and what is now a resistance, which is at point 0.0000226. Man, I hate doing technical analysis on these coins because they just have so many zeros. It's insane. But let's go back to the charts, and then we're gonna look at a few indicators. And these indicators are showing me that we might have one more drop to the downside, at least to this support level at the point 2049. Well, at the 2049. I'm not even gonna say the other four zeros before that, but you guys know there's four zeros before the next numbers that I say. So 2049. More likely that we're gonna break down here than we are going to the upside. Now, I know that's not what most people would like to hear. No one likes to hear that their favorite coin is going to drop unless you just want to buy at a discount. But one of the main reasons why is because after we had this major drop here, you expect for Shiba or any other coin to pump up with a lot more volume. And if you see at the volume here, even though we're pumping up, the volume has been dropping. That's the type of divergence where or an indicator where you kind of have to be very careful. This pump might not be as real as you would like it to be. There's not a lot of buying pressure. So right here on the cipher B, this red wave that you see here, that's the sell pressure on Shiba Inu. There's a lot more sell pressure than there is buy pressure. And if you see this green line, this green wave, that's what happened when we were pumping to the upside. So the buy pressure was significant here. That's the reason why we were going up. Now, it doesn't always mean that if it's red that we're just going to continue dropping. If you see, it was still sort of green here as we were dropping, but one thing that you should notice is that the buy pressure was actually decreasing, so it was actually dropping instead of going up. So that's another reason why the price was going down. So that's something that you would like to see when you want the price going up. You want to see the buy pressure actually increase or be extremely high. And right now, the sell pressure looks like it's a lot bigger than it was back here. So it might be dropping a little bit. If I zoom in, you might see that it's dropping just a little bit, but the buy pressure is just pretty significant. The sell pressure is just pretty significant right now, which is another sign that I do believe Shiba Inu might have at least one more drop to the downside. Another indicator is that on the daily, the Stochc RSI is actually getting close to the overbought levels. And as you can see here, when it did last time we did get to the overbought levels, we actually dropped quite a bit, and then we came back down. Same thing back here. We got to that overbought levels, we came up here, and then we ended up dropping. As you can see, the Stochc RSI dropped after that. So it's just these indicators that you have to look at, and doesn't mean that it's always going to happen 100%. There might be times where even if the RSI is really high, we still might see a push up and this get extended a lot more. But At least, and on a probabilistic scenario, we either going to be trending still within this support and resistance, or we might drop a little bit. So that's with Shiba Inu. If we look at Dogecoin, Dogecoin has been following the symmetrical triangle for a lot longer than Shiba's, if I'm not mistaken. This has been since May of last year. So yeah, since May of last year, we're getting close to the end of the symmetrical triangle. This is like towards the end of February, but doesn't mean that it has to wait until the end of February to break out of it. But it's a good way to kind of see where we might have some resistance. Dogecoin, same thing as Shiba Inu. And then let me go back here because then I'm gonna start writing all over the screen. So Dogecoin, we came back and we tested this support level, bounced up, but as we bounced up, same thing. Like we had that major, well not major, but we had some good volume when we bounced up, and then we just kept dropping. So that's I hate repeating myself, but same as Shiba Inu, if we get a price up after this bounce, but the volume just drops, it's not a good sign. It's almost like a warning sign saying that there might be a possibility where we may drop down again. As you can see here as well, Stochk RSI is getting close to overbought levels. Sell pressure, you can see on the side for B, is still there. And when we're getting close to overbought levels, or when we were at overbought levels like here, just saw the price go down. Same thing here, overbought, and then price ended up dropping. So I do believe that at least in the relatively short term, because we are looking at the dailies, that we might see one more drop before we end up going up and breaking off of this trend line. Another indicator that you should look at, which is actually a coin as well, is Bitcoin. Bitcoin determines what the market does 99% of the time. There might be those coins where Bitcoin drops significantly and that other coin might pump significantly, but it's extremely rare. There's only very few times that certain coins do that. And right now, if you look at the daily, Bitcoin is meeting this resistance on this falling wedge here. We are actually at overbought levels with Bitcoin on the Stochk RSI. Sell pressure on Bitcoin is there. The volume has been dropping even though we have been going up. And as you can see, there's a lot of similarities with these coins. And there's a lot of coins out there that have been doing a lot, that have been following a very similar price action since the all-time highs or their tops that they reached, a few months ago to today. So we have to keep an eye on Bitcoin, because whatever Bitcoin does, that's also going to determine what Dogecoin and Shiba Inu do. But looking at what's been happening here, the most probabilistic scenario is that Bitcoin comes and drops again, and then Shiba and Dogecoin will do something similar, at least for the short term. The reason why I say the short term is because if you actually look, at these coins on the weekly, now the weekly looks a lot better. The weekly on Shiba Inu is actually at oversold on the Stochk RSI. There's not a lot of price action for us to actually get a good reading, to do really good technical analysis on the weekly and up. But at least the fact that it's oversold here on the weekly, it's one good sign that, it is in a week or two, we might see Shiba Inu start going up to the upside. The fact that we're close to the end of this trend line or symmetrical triangle, then that's another good indicator that Shiba Inu might pump up. Now, yes, it still might drop and we might follow this trend line still on the way down. But since we're dealing with probabilities, the higher probability is us breaking up, and I would say 80% plus breaking up. There's that 20% chance that we might break down, but it all depends on what Bitcoin does. Dogecoin, same thing. If you look on the weekly, it's at oversold levels. Dogecoin does have a lot more price action. It's been around a lot longer, and Dogecoin is at oversold levels. It's been at oversold levels for quite a good amount of time, actually, since December, November. So it's just because it's oversold doesn't mean that it's gonna go up relatively soon, but I do believe that we are getting close. Bitcoin, if we look Bitcoin on the weekly, same thing, oversold. On the weekly, the buy pressure is still high, even though it has been dropping. On the daily, Yeah, when the daily we've been having that sell pressure, but on the daily we just look like we're overbought, so we might have one more drop to the downside. At first, I was thinking that we're gonna get this massive drop, and we might get Bitcoin back down to the $29,000 range. But something I don't know, it's just a feeling that I have that we might not go down that low anymore. I do believe that this that $33,000 range was the bottom, but only time will tell. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I do believe we're gonna get a rejection off of this falling wedge, off of this trend line, and maybe come back down to like the 35, between the 35 and the $33,000 range. If we do break below this low that we had recently, then yes, the chances for us hitting the $29,000 range does increase significantly. But at least for the time being, I do believe somewhere between the $35,000 range, which is the close here, or the very bottom here. So between these two price targets, or that's where we might drop to if we do get rejected off of this trend line. One last thing that we're going to look at, and we're going to look at this because it does play a significant role in the crypto space. It's going to be the DXY. So the weekly on the DXY, it's bouncing off of this where it had reached the oversold levels, and it's bouncing off of this. I do believe, and I thought we were going to reach this a lot sooner. In my opinion, I thought we were going to reach this week, but we still have time, so we'll see. But we've been following this symmetrical triangle as well for a long time now. The DXY has been around for a lot longer than Bitcoin and anything in the cryptocurrency space. So we've been following this since 2001, since 2000, November of 2000. So I do feel, and even if we don't reach that level, or that trend line up here, even if we don't reach it, we might get pretty close to it. I do feel like we're gonna have at least one more week, if not this week, next week, of us getting up here or close to these levels up here before actually getting rejected. And I would actually like to see the DXY just this week or next week to just come and just touch this here and get rejected. And the reason I would like for that to happen is because it would give me a more of a solid indicator that we've reached the top on the DXY. Bitcoin is about to reverse, because that's usually 90% of the time whenever the DXY goes up, Bitcoin goes down, and when Bitcoin goes down, the DXY goes up. So they're like opposites. So I would really like to see that, because once we do reach these levels up here, as you can see, we had a drop. And if we go back here, as soon as we touched it up here, we ended up dropping again. So I would really like to see the DXY touching the top, just to kind of confirm and give me more of a confirmation that we're gonna reverse on the DXY and we're gonna come back down, and Bitcoin might start trending up. Now, the reason why I say it doesn't always happen is because if you see here, we didn't reach the top, and we still ended up having a drop. Now, even though it doesn't look as significant, these drops are pretty, I think are pretty huge. 8-9%. Remember that the stock market and bonds and everything, they're not as volatile as the cryptocurrency space. Cryptocurrency is relatively new compared to these, and these have been around for a very long time. But if you look at the time frame, even though it was only an 8-9% drop, it was 161 days. So if the DXY drops 161 days and Bitcoin pumps for 161 days, I mean, I'm all for it. I do expect the month of February to be a very volatile month. There are a lot of people who are wondering what's going to happen next. No one really knows. People are saying that we might have, one more major dump on Bitcoin. We might not have that major dump. But one thing that we do know is that we're getting relatively close for either or to happen. Either Bitcoin dropping significantly down to the $29,000 range, or Bitcoin starting to have a trend reversal and start going up and start meeting those all-time high levels at that $69,000 range. So one thing that we do know for sure is that we're getting close to the end. The only thing is that what's going to happen? Are we going to go up, or we're going to go down? But if you guys have been looking, if you guys did watch the whole video through, the most probable scenario is for us to break to the upside. We've been trending down for a few months already. We're at oversold levels on the weekly. I don't think I showed you on the 2 weeks on Bitcoin, but 2 weeks is also oversold. On the monthly, we're oversold. So at least, in the longer time frames, we have been oversold on Bitcoin. The only thing that is not oversold right now is the daily. We're overbought, but the daily is a relatively short term. Even if we get a dump, in just these next few days, we can expect Bitcoin to go up at least in the following weeks to months, which is a lot better if you ask me. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Please, if you guys like the video, leave a thumbs up, write something in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.